The Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by CNMC, Syngenta Canada, and the Alberta Wheat Commission.
Hi, welcome to the Wheat School. I'm Bernard Tobin. Today I'm just outside London, Ontario, catching up with Marty Vermey, agronomist for GFO, Grain Farmers of Ontario. Marty, how's it going?
It's going good. Bern, yourself?
I'm doing all right. Beautiful day. Not too hot, but we could use some rain.
We sure could. We'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about YEN, Yield Enhancement Networks. And the first time we heard about YEN, Marty, was about 2 years ago at the Southwest Ag Conference. Ruth Wade paid a visit, talked to Peter Johnson and a lot of farmers that day. Talk about Yield Enhancement Networks. What can you tell us about them? How do they work? Why should farmers get involved?
Yeah, we learned a lot that day. I was sitting in the audience as well and learning a lot about the Yield Enhancement Network that ADAS is the organization out of Great Britain actually established back in 2012. Sylvester from ADAS actually established this concept of getting collaboration between industry partners, associations, agronomists, and it just kind of spread from there. And actually, it started off in the UK, but it's also in Denmark and Germany. It's across Europe. And actually, there's one in PEI you've probably heard about. But we officially launched on June 9th here in Ontario. So after a year of doing a pilot trial and kind of getting the partners together, which is Grain Farmers of Ontario, NOMAFRA, University of Guelph, as well as University of Michigan and the Michigan Wheat Program. It's those collaborators together to make the Great Lakes YEN, because it's not just, one area that can benefit from this. Yeah. Everybody decided that, this is something that's really good. Let's do it together. And actually, it goes back even further. The Great Lakes area, they've been collaborating for years. So there's the Great Lakes wheat workers meeting that occur every year. Sometimes it's in Ohio, sometimes it's in Michigan. Ontario just did it this past year, and they collaborate on all kinds of wheat projects. Yeah. So this is the next big project that now we're going to engage with farmers as well.
Yeah. So that's the key, right? Yeah. Farmers engaging together, sharing, learning from each other. And we're actually in one of the YEN sites right here. You can see the flags. Tell us about, Marty, as you go through the year, what are you looking at from a management perspective? What are you trying to learn from? I'm sure it starts right at, planting date.
It does. It's planning of the location, the site that the farmer is going to put in. Because actually with the YEN, we're actually going to be collecting soil information. So we're actually taking soil samples and analyzing the soil samples. So before anything occurs in the field, you really got to start at that time, Bern. And then throughout the growing season, of course, we're taking tissue tests at the stage 31 and 39, before it bolts out, and then right at flag leaf stage, we're taking tissue samples to analyze that, to correlate what's going on in the field, and then the grain sample, and analyzing the grain sample to see what's going on. But even including all that scientific stuff that takes a lot of lab work, we're also actually looking at population. Yeah. What are farmers doing for population, fertility programs, fungicide programs, and just analyzing the whole project. So a farmer would have one site, and we would take all that data that he would provide for us in this project, and then we analyze that and benchmark how he did compared to everybody else in the project. But the key thing is, it's not just a high yield or what was your yield, it was what was your potential. So we're actually working with the University of Guelph to have crop models, and that's part of the YEN's success over the last 12 years, was really looking at crop models and taking a look at what is the potential of the field. So in the UK, they could get 300 bushels an acre, but we know with our climate here, and we know right now we're hot and dry, we have a short grain fill period, so our potential isn't as great as it is in Europe. But we have a potential still, and every farmer in the province has a different potential based on soil type and other conditions. Yeah. So we're actually looking at the percent yield potential that a farmer can gain. So it's actually, did he achieve 100%? That's pretty hard to get. But did he get 60% or 65% of his yield potential at particular field in that area? And that's really what we're going to gauge. And we will have somebody that will reign the champion to get the highest percent, because there's always a winner in something. But it's not just about high yield. It's about how you got there and your efficiencies of getting the best potential on your farm.
Yeah. Now you're going to be in and out, as you said, of the fields, looking at different states. Here we are at heading. And one of the things a lot of people talk about, and I know Ruth and Roger talked about it as well, was, heads per square meter. What are we seeing in this field, and how do growers approach that parameter?
Yep. And to get heads per square foot, it could be, getting the highest population down. But sometimes that's not good. If you put double the population down, you get a lot of tillering, plant early, you get a mess on your hands. So it's all managing all those fine things, right? And it's how much tillering you get before the crop goes into dormancy, and also how it tillers in the springtime. If we get a nice spring and cool weather and it tillers out, and then your heads per square meter can then be a certain amount. And that's one nice thing about the N. We're probably going to find out that the farmer with the highest percent of heads or plants per square meter may not be the highest potential. Actually, it might be something different, because it's also we're measuring the length of the head, the number of kernels per head, the size of the kernels. All those factors make a big difference. And, are you keeping the field clean? No rust showing up, no other diseases. That flag leaf is perfectly clean here in this field. So that's part of it right there. What's your best yield potential? Getting this crop off to a good start early on, but also right now a grain fill period. And when we take a look at the grain fill, you can really tell a difference. I grabbed a sample here. These lighter plants are from an hour south of here, so they probably pollinated about a week earlier, maybe 5 days earlier than the field here outside London. And you can really see the development on the kernels and the differences that you can see just on timing. And with that timing, it's like, what was the weather conditions? What was the rainfall? The grain fill period now for the next couple of weeks, that's really going to make or break the yields here in Ontario.
Yeah. Hey, so you're going to take everything to yield. We're going to learn a lot. Talk about the rollout this fall. When are you going to be sharing information, and when can growers get involved for 2022?
Yep. As we launched on the 9th of June, we actually have a website up and running where you'll be able to see some of the information, what a yen is, and it's greatlakesyen.com, and that'll be where we're posting a lot of the information, a lot of the communications. We'll be looking for some sponsors to help us out, and we're actually looking for applicants for next year. So we're going to start this all over again. This was just a pilot project this year with 23 fields in Ontario and about 20 in Michigan, but it's going to expand from there, and we hope to have 50 applicants next year, and it'll actually start in September, because right before we start planting, we want to make sure we have the applicants, we have the soil samples, and with winter wheat, you got to start early.
Oh, you got it. And over the winter period, we'll be hearing lots on what happened this year, what we learned in the Yield Enhancement Network.